Hey folks, what's going on? Welcome to Coach Gav Live, episode 31 with me, your host, Coach Gav from Kildare Strength and Fitness. Probably should have fixed myself before we started filming. So, in the title above, knowing when to quit. Quitting over the years, well, I've been coaching 10 years, alright? And in those 10 years, more often than not, I've seen and heard quitting be referred to as some kind of like real kind of shitty, awful thing to do. You know, like that you were a bad person or you were like just weak if you quit. Every action in life needs to be taken, and even every statement in life needs to be taken in context. Okay, context in regards of how it was said, how it's meant, how you interpret it. And as I've done a lot of kind of self-development study on like communication, his that and as well, there becomes a greater understanding that when and why people say and do things and how to look at them in the bigger picture of it all. So 2 instances yesterday, I had the chance to quit, and in one instance I took that option. So yesterday, myself, my mum and Freya, we went up to the Kildare Maze out in Prosperous. And fantastic day, like really good fun. Super cracked. Just try to find better. That lighting's even worse. Spin it right this way. That lighting's even worse. Sorry about this, folks. Okay, we'll roll with that. Okay, so we went to the Kildare Maze over in Prosperous. Firstly, fantastically good value, fantastic setup, really good fun. Literally for people of all ages. I don't know who had more fun, my mom or Freya, when we were over there, but or even I had the last two. So there's one of the main maze over there. We were in it and we were putting around and kind of we were making progress, getting lost, and we were in it for maybe like half an hour and still hadn't found our way to the end of it. And I had to have Freya home before her bedtime. So I was like, okay, well, kind of we're gonna have to stop trying because I ran out of time. And in that instance, quitting was the right thing to do. So rather than kind of go, and it still stung a little. Like no one likes to quit. No one likes to not achieve what they've set out to do. But I knew that in that context, it was the right thing to do because we had somewhere else to be. We didn't have enough time on our side. Our resources had run out. So quitting was the right thing to do. And it is quite rare when kind of quitting is the right thing to do, but we need to be open-minded that the fact of, you know, that's a real possibility. You know, it's not being pig-headed, it's not letting your pride get before it all, where you're like, no, we have to, you know, kind of power on through it. And you know, again, it's understanding things in the bigger picture, it's having perspective, it's weighing up the pros and cons of it all then as well. You know, because there's a price to pay for everything. And even now that I see kind of Kyle jumping on here as well, it reminds me of a third incident back. We had a game this season and we just didn't have the numbers to complete the game. So we called it a halftime and that was it. So yes, on paper we quit. But in reality, we did the right thing because we were like, okay, the injuries were piling up. And the bigger picture of it, we had 2 more games left in the season that we had a decent chance of winning. So we're like, okay, let's just take the loss here, regroup, recover, and come back stronger the next time for it then as well. So because usually kind of you see people getting pissed on and kind of, well, you know, oh yeah, you quit, you're a big quitter, blah 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 blah. Look at it in context. Oh well, you quit this, you quit that. Look at it in context. I quit being a TFW affiliate for a number of reasons. Okay, but oh yeah, well you quit, you know, blah blah, you failed, that didn't work. Yeah, it didn't, and I've chosen to go do something else. So same thing for you. Like, so we had the maze instance where I chose to quit. We had to quit trying to get to the end inside of the maze. We just didn't have enough time. There wasn't enough time, so be it. And in that, you know, sometimes that'll happen to you where the resources or you just run out of time. So you have to stop pursuing that because something else becomes a greater priority. Now, I'm not saying you quit when things become hard because the maze got pretty hard fairly early on. So we're like, okay, well, do we just quit? Because even like Freya was getting a little tired and I was getting a little frustrated and that kind of stuff. And then last night I went shooting a bit of snooker. And yeah, first game went well, still managed to beat myself. Second game started off really well. hadn't committed any fouls, hadn't given up any points, was flying along, and then the wheels just came off the wagon, and the next like 20 minutes of snooker was absolutely shit. Let a few curses out under my breath, tried choking the pool cue a couple of times, never on the actual verge of breaking it, like, do you know, kind of like, oh, I was ready to snap it. I wouldn't actually go and snap a cue, it's only a game at the end of the day, but mentally, like, I mean, the option was there to quit. Like, I was behind by 80 points at one stage, and there was no way mathematically I could get back on top. But in this context, it was the principle. It was kind of going, no, you can't just quit because things aren't going well. You can't just quit because you're not going to win. There was still an opportunity and a chance to go and improve and get better. And sure enough, kind of, I stepped away from the table for a while, calmed down, came back, made some good shots, still made some more bad shots at the end of it all then as well, but finished off on a high and was kind of really glad that I didn't quit. So in the first instance, the match on Father's Day with the Soldiers, it was a good thing. It was the right thing to do, to call it quits and say, right, we got to stop here before this gets out of hand and we get 5 or 6 more injuries. And it's not that we quit because we were losing. We quit because, Lisa, what's going on? Hope you guys are having some good strong coffee over in Nashville this morning. So quitting in that instance was fine because we had to look again, and it's like, again, context. And even just taking that tip away, like, look at everything in context. What was said? How was it meant? What were they referring to? What was the context of it all? And if we added more kind of perspective and context into our life, I would very confidently say our stress and arguing levels would drop dramatically. Because, instead of thinking that, and even actually from a parenting point of view, myself and Freya's mom get on fairly, probably a better than most separated parents, to be honest, because we look at everything in context. If Freya's mom says something to me, no longer am I going on the defense being like, why are you saying that to me? It's a case of, okay, well, what way do you mean it? Oh, okay, that's fine. And the same vice versa. Instead of her going, hey, listen, what are you saying? Kind of wind your neck in. We very, very, very rarely fight or argue, and it's pretty good. Now, as all parents, we rub each other the wrong way sometimes, but that's it. So the same then when you're living life with people you work with your partners, with your kids, whatever, with your sports teams, the context of what is being said or what is happening is hugely important. But back to the topic today is quitting isn't the end of the world. If you quit at the first hurdle when something gets hard, that's bullshit. Let's just admit that right now, okay? But if you quit, if you get to a point where you realize, I've exhausted all my options, I've tried and tried and tried, I've given my genuine best, it's just not happening, then okay, quitting, cutting your losses and pursuing something different, go for it. If you find that you're pursuing something and as time's gone on, you're like, actually, no, wait a minute, that's not what I want to try and do. I want to try and go do this. Quitting's perfect. There's no point pursuing something if you know it's not what you want and it's not going to bring you happiness, joy, improved health, improved financial status, whatever. Defeats the purpose of it. So, because sometimes we feel like we're afraid to quit because in this, so easy generate, it's so easy nowadays for people. Like, I mean, look at even like that. Like, I mean, I'm in Kildare filming a video in Ireland and Lisa's watching this all the way over in Nashville in Tennessee. So the barrier to communication is next to non-existent. So now when we quit publicly, it's very easy for people. Like, I mean, if Lisa wanted to, Lisa could badmouth me right now and there's going to be no consequences. Bar like, I'm going to feel like shit because she's like, oh my God, you're a quitter. I know Lisa wouldn't, but if she did, she could. Same for anyone. Like, there's no real barriers. So we're left very unprotected. Kind of, even like, let's take it with the let's go back to the example of the match. When we quit then, other teams or clubs could be like, oh yeah, quitters, kind of. But then when they look at it in context, going, well, hold on, they quit because it was either quit or risk losing half the team again to injuries. So don't just quit at the first hurdle. Don't just quit when things get hard, because guess what? If you don't overcome the struggles in life, you can't develop strength. It's true strength. So So I just realized, as I said, that catchphrase works better when you see it as opposed to when you hear it. So true is in TRUE. So true strength is in developed. True strength, true struggle. So only through your struggles can you build your strength. Fuck, I should have tried that one beforehand. That's pretty much it. Again, knowing when to quit. Some of these videos get really rough. Some of the podcasts, as Lisa can confirm, do get a little long-winded. Things, kind of start putting your arse around your elbow and you're kind of going, okay, I'm not really explaining this quite well. Oh, sure, just stop. No, just stop when you've made your point. Okay, now you're repeatedly making the same point. Now please stop. And that's what it is, folks. It's knowing when is the right thing to do at the right time. And that's a particularly hard message to send on to kids because, there's this huge pressure on winning, never quitting, never giving up, all this kind of cracking as well. Giving up and quitting isn't a bad thing. Firstly, it's a decision you yourself need to make. It's also a decision you yourself need to live with. But just if you find that you're at the point where you're considering quitting anything, look at all your options, look at the context of it all, and then make sure, don't be afraid to pull the trigger and quit something, but just remember, have I exhausted all my options? Have I maximized and made the most use of all my resources, my time, my energy, my attention, my focus, my education, my skills, all those different things. Right, folks, I am off. Take it easy. God bless. I'll talk to you tomorrow.